What is up, everybody? Smash that watermelon! Just kidding. If you've ever been to my channel, I do not talk like that. So it has been 2 years for me on YouTube and I have made a lot of mistakes, and that's what this video is going to be about. But first, let me just give you some clarification on what we're doing here. First, I'm going to give you my mistakes and talk about my personal problems with YouTube and what I probably should have done differently. And this is going to be like a wandering video for my subscribers to kind of talk about, like, just general stuff and where I'm at. So if you came here for the mistakes, that's what you clicked on. All right, you're gonna get that. But then, you know, as time goes on, it might even get dark out. I may have to film the rest of this in my car. Then you'll just get like the extra crap. And if you're not here for that, that's okay. Leave when you need to leave. I really kind of wanted to sit down for this, but there's like nowhere to sit. It's just grass everywhere. And this has been one of my major frustrations with YouTube that has nothing to do with the platform. Is just for me, I don't feel comfortable talking about mental health topics where I live because I don't have that great of privacy, even though I'm going to be forced to do that again in the winter and I'm preparing for that. But I come out and I try to do things out in the open, as you see here, and I love coming out here, don't get me wrong, but also the parks that are available near me. There's usually people here and they do things like fly drones, and there's a lot of car noise, as many of you may remember if you watched me when I first started and I would go out in the dark and walk along streets. There was a lot of car noise that drove me crazy because I've had PTSD issues with car noises before, and I know people don't like shitty sound quality, so that's just a personal gripe, but here I am. Let's get to my mistakes. That's what you're here for. And hold up, before I even get to the mistakes, I just want to make sure that, like, I'm telling you, I'm not just going to give you like the general crap that you see all the time when you search for this kind of stuff, because I've done that before. I've gone back and searched all the videos for like what to do on YouTube to make it and all this stuff, and people just regurgitate the same crap over and over, and sometimes it really is just crap, because I look back at some of the advice that I've read and I'm like, that was wrong. Why did you tell me that? First mistake, picking my niche, however you want to say it, picking my topic. Now, obviously I knew going into this that mental health was not going to be like the most popular topic on YouTube, because at the time when I started, oh wait, hold on, before I get to this, rewind, let's get back to when I started all of this, because I know some of you are going to go out there and you're going to go look at my channel information. You're going to say 2014 January, I think that's what it says anyway. That's not when, that's 3 years. What the hell is this guy talking about? No, it's actually been 2 years. I opened that channel, I think because I was thinking of getting into YouTube, and I've always made it clear from the very beginning that I wanted to do something business minded on here. So back then I was really thinking about business and stuff like life coaching and stuff like that, but I wasn't ready yet to even get on YouTube. I didn't have the confidence, so it sat for a while, and it sat because my ex and I had gone through a long breakup, which is what I talk about now on my channel, is breakups. He had broken up with me in September of 2015. It took me a year to like kind of recuperate and get on my feet and figure out what I was doing before I decided I want to do YouTube. I liked this idea of YouTube. YouTube had been doing some advertising, I think, around the time about like, use your voice and, you know, be this person, like speak and be who you are and express yourself. And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like what I need right now. Little did I know that they were going to be changing things. But some of you will go to my videos and you'll go back and like go to the oldest video and you'll be like, no, that's still not 2 years from when I'm making this video. And that is because when YouTube changed and added end screens in, I wanted to use those end screens. I thought they were going to be super cool. And so I only had like a few months of videos up already, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna redo these. I privated all those videos and I uploaded in batches like all those videos again with the end screen ability. Okay, let's get to the mistake though. So the mistake was picking a bad topic, and you know, I kind of knew that YouTube was not really a mental health oriented place, but I went to YouTube for mental health stuff, and it's where I found out like 10 years ago that I probably had borderline personality disorder. I never got it diagnosed or anything, but I worked on it and the symptoms alleviated, so make your own conclusions. And it was where I went after this breakup, after I was learning about my ex and what I thought might be wrong with him, as I think we all kind of do sometimes, whether we should or not. And more importantly, I was using YouTube to learn about myself. And I just kind of realized like YouTube is really powerful in that we can connect with people and we can help them and we can share our voices. And that's what the advertising was telling me. So I was like, yeah, I want to do this. I really like this idea, even though nobody around me was really doing it. And every time I mentioned it to somebody, they were like, YouTube, Now, I'm not an idiot. I went and did my research on mental health, and I realized like mental health is a really big topic, and if you go to Google Trends and you look up mental health, it shows up pretty high in comparison to other things, because people do care about their mental health, and people do realize that they have mental health problems, or they realize the people around them have problems. And this is just my assumption, I feel like people generally want to do something about it. However, there's some people making noise back there. If you hear them, just tune them out like I try to do. I just can't work around the noise today. I need to talk. So I made the mistake of focusing on mental health as a whole, and I wanted to be like Katie Morton in some ways. Katie Morton, if you don't know, she's got a mental health channel. She's a therapist, and she's a licensed therapist, and she talks about like every mental illness that you could possibly think of and mental health topics, and I love that. I think that's great. It reaches a lot of people, and I wanted to kind of educate myself on all these things because I was still kind of new to all of this. And just be involved. But no. YouTube's algorithm, especially around that time, changed a lot. And picking a topic like that is not the best idea. You know, Roberto Blake, who teaches about YouTube, you can go look him up, and all the other people that teach about YouTube, but specifically Roberto's been saying a lot that variety channels are dead, or they're dying, or they're struggling at least. And essentially what I was creating was a variety channel. It wasn't like comedy and scripted stuff and like wacky vlogs and all that kind of stuff all in one, but I was doing topics that were all over the place. I was doing schizoid personality disorder and disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, and I was doing boundaries, and I was doing like all the personality disorders and all of the anxiety stuff, and like I was just kind of all over the place, which is all under the umbrella of mental health. But not everybody who has an anxiety problem cares about bipolar, and not everybody who has borderline personality disorder cares about schizophrenia or any of these other things. Especially if you're just like a random person who goes to YouTube every now and then and types something in, and maybe like you found out a relative had schizophrenia, so you type in schizophrenia or whatever. I don't even have a video on schizophrenia, but we'll just go there. And then you see a video by me and you subscribe. Like, you're not going to watch any more of my videos because you really don't care. You just subscribe because you like the video or whatever, and I told you to. And that's pretty much how the algorithm works now. So maybe I should get a little into the algorithm. I know that's not something everybody wants to hear about, but it goes along with my mistakes. So right now, as of the time of making this, the way that the algorithm works is that they prioritize expected watch time per impression. And this comes from a paper that was published by the engineers at Google. I maybe can find the link if I have the time to find it. I probably do have it bookmarked somewhere, but I specifically took that phrase out of that entire thing and like put it somewhere for me to sear into my brain, because that's what the algorithm is looking for. Expected watch time per impression. This is what's going to get videos suggested out there, and a goal of mine has always been to make videos to get seen. I know some people do videos because they just want to improve their skills and they want to build a portfolio and whatever. That's great. That's okay. I'm not knocking that, but that's not who I am. I always wanted my videos to get seen by people. I've always wanted to connect with people, and since I am business minded, I've always wanted to grow an audience to potentially find people who would be willing to pay for whatever services or products or whatever that I offer. So when we take expected watch time per impression and we really break it down, what it's saying is every time you upload a video, YouTube is looking at that and they're saying, how many people are going to click on this? That's the impression part. When we show it and we put it in front of people's faces, whether it's on the home page, whether it's on desktop, mobile, whether it's in their subscription feed, most people don't even check the subscription feed anymore, or if it's in the suggested thing, like they test this stuff out every video, and they probably have a generally good idea before they even send it out whether or not it's going to do well, but they do test it in real time. And depending on if people click on it, that's the impression part, and then how long are people going to watch it. So if you already clicked off this video, I'm screwed, because my average watch time is around 4 minutes now, and that's actually great. It's probably not even 4 minutes. For me, that's great. And I need it to be higher constantly. Okay, so how does this relate to my mistake of the mental health thing? Well, choosing mental health is great and wonderful, and as I said, there are a lot of people looking for mental health information, but what happened to me is a couple of videos that I did early on in the beginning got really big really quickly. So my schizoid personality disorder video, my schizotypal personality video, a couple of my gaslighting videos, those got really big because there weren't a lot of people making videos on those topics. There was people making a lot of gaslighting stuff, but For whatever reason, those ones took off and those became my top videos. So people subscribed. But as I mentioned, YouTube wants to know that you're going to watch videos. So when somebody subscribes to me for a schizoid personality disorder video and then I don't make one for months and months and months, then I'm showing, like, my videos are showing up in front of somebody on anxiety, on boundaries, on abuse, all kinds of different things. And what's happening? They're not clicking. So YouTube thinks, well, this video's bad because they test the videos out first with your subscribers. That's why everybody wants you to hit the damn bell because the bell gives you the notification. And if you're that engaged that you'll hit the bell, then you'll probably watch a video when it shows up. And that's what YouTube wants. They want people who jump to YouTube and watch videos. So when I don't make videos on these topics that got really big, YouTube sees my videos and like, oh, these are crap, nobody wants to watch them. Or maybe that's not the algorithm doesn't think that way, but the algorithm says, nobody's watching these. Why are we going to show them to anybody else? Also, at the time when I started, you could get like the first 4 spots in the next up suggested videos. That was like a standard thing. And very quickly, like a month or 2 after I started, they took that away. So I don't even get that benefit anymore that a lot of people had when they started earlier of at least being seen by people. So I can put a video up and you may not see another video suggested for me below it. That sucks. And this is all because YouTube is judging my videos to be of poor quality because they're not getting the expected watch time per impression, because whenever somebody saw my videos, that's not what they subscribed for and they just didn't watch, and YouTube decided my videos are crap and basically threw them in the garbage. And I'll get like 1 or 2 videos a month on those kinds of videos. They're really just throwaways. I might as well have not even made them. So I realized this problem pretty early on, and it actually kind of leads into my second mistake. My second mistake was not being associated with the right channels. Now, as far as I'm aware, YouTube has never officially talked about this themselves, but Derral Eves has talked about it, and I've kind of like observed it myself. When you go on YouTube on the desktop to somebody's channel, you have to go on their channel page and you look on the right, there's a related channels section. Now they can customize and do their own thing, which I do and a lot of people do, but even below that there's still a related channels, and it'll show like 3 to 5, maybe even 6, I think, channels that YouTube feels are related to the topic of this particular channel. And my related channels in the beginning were the weirdest channels because they were, no offense to anybody with schizoid or schizotypal personality disorder, but like it was a lot of conspiracy theory stuff, because that makes sense if you have schizotypal personality disorder that you'd be interested in that stuff. But I don't do conspiracy theory videos, so it made no sense for me to be related to these channels. And I'm not somebody who just like sits back and like complains about problems. Believe me, I do tons and tons and tons of complaining. My friends will tell you that. But I was looking for solutions, and I went to a group of people who do videos, like video people on YouTube. I don't want to get into details, but I had asked about this, and I said, I'm got these videos that are like my top videos or whatever, but they're not putting me in the right category of people, and I think it's hurting my channel. What do you think? And the general reaction that I got from people was, you should be grateful that you're getting views. Like, most people can't even get views. And don't get me wrong, I'm grateful. But I was like, this is not helping me to grow. And I don't know if you're... my general feeling walking away from all that advice was, I don't think anybody's really understanding the problem here. So it had gone through my head, and I think this is what I actually had asked people was, should I private those videos so that they don't count anymore and then people can't see them in the search engines or whatever, and don't get recommended those videos? Is that what I should do? But I thought long and hard about it, and I didn't want to do that because I used a lot of different videos to learn about my own mental health. And if somebody has these disorders or these problems, why would I take that away from them? If people were finding good value out of this stuff, like a hypervigilance video, which still to this day is very high up there, then why am I going to take that down? That seems stupid to me. That kind of goes against the whole purpose of me doing a mental health channel. And yes, you know, I want to do this for business purposes. I want to do this to reach people, but I also don't want to like neglect people because their disorder or whatever is not popular enough. That's just ridiculous. That goes against the whole point of YouTube in my mind, and expressing yourself and connecting with people. So I don't know if we should really call it a mistake or not, but I didn't get hooked up with the right channels. And believe me, I was trying to make multiple videos on the topics that I wanted to do. And we're going to get to that in a minute because that's my mistake number 3. But I was trying to do series of videos and get the types of people who I thought I could reach the best to see my videos, but it wasn't working, and I just kept getting hooked up with the wrong channels. And still to this day, as I make this video, I'm a little bit better hooked up to the people I think I should be hooked up to, but it's not the right people still. I've made about 40 videos on breakups straight, which I know is driving some of you crazy, and I'm going to continue to do it, but it still hasn't completely hooked me up into the breakup community. Okay, as always when I do these things, I'm always rushing and the sun is going down, so I'm going to drive somewhere. I may have to do some grocery shopping in between, we'll see, maybe not. But the next clip will be me in a parking lot with some crappy lighting, and in my car it's horrible sound. I apologize. It's just gotta be what it is. Boom, here we are. Okay, so it was way too dark outside. I tried parking somewhere under a light. It just wasn't working. So let's get back to these mistakes. I was talking about what? I was talking about groups and not being connected to the correct group, and this hurt me hard because I wasn't getting the subscribers for the type of content I was making. And since I was making all kinds of different content, I tried to narrow it down and focus down on like PTSD, trauma, abuse, that kind of stuff, which was another mistake. The third mistake, using words that YouTube doesn't like. So what do I mean by that when I say using words that YouTube doesn't like? Now, obviously that's a value judgment, and YouTube, the company, has their own values. I'm not saying that they don't actually not like these things, but I found out the hard way, as many of us did during the whole adpocalypse thing, which don't even get me started, we're not going there, but I found out that there were a lot of keywords that when you say them in a video or you put them in your description or in your tags when you upload a video, YouTube is going to decide, okay, well, this is sensitive content and we're not going to show this to as many people, either because they have opted out, because they've turned on restricted mode, or because we feel like they're too young for this, or maybe I don't know how YouTube determines these things. All I know is it has affected my stats because I've seen it myself. But I realized, especially after fellow YouTuber Sealow did this report that he released in a video about these different keywords that exist, that I was being penalized without even knowing it. And many YouTubers do this. Probably if you're watching this, this may still be news to you, that there are certain words and certain topics that when you talk about them, specifically the keywords, YouTube will not send them out to as many people because YouTube wants to have this, and this is my opinion here, but YouTube wants to have this place that feels safe for people and place that feels like it's age appropriate. And so when I talk about things like trauma or PTSD or abuse especially, or if I say the word sex, or if I say gay, it doesn't matter what context I'm saying it in, because YouTube has so many videos to sort through that they can't pick and choose one by one and look at what everybody's talking about. They will just flag it, and then it will go into a separate pile for sensitive content. And when it's in that sensitive content pile, it's not going to get shown to all my subscribers. It's not going to get shown to all of YouTube. And generally, that video performs less well. Now, this is different from demonetization. Demonetization sucks too, because then you get limited ads on what you are putting out, and you may not make as much money. And I've gotten hit by that too many, many times. But since I have learned about these keywords and I watch what I say on camera, obviously not in this video, I have worked around that as best as I can. But in the beginning, I focused in on PTSD, trauma, and abuse. So most of my videos were either getting demonetized, or if not demonetized, they were not being shown to people. I essentially picked an audience that's unreachable on YouTube. By the way, if you are not following the channels PTSD Victory or Trauma Talk, I'm going to put links to them somewhere. Go to those channels and subscribe and watch their videos, because trauma is an important thing that needs to be talked about. And although I have decided to move away from that, those channels are focusing in on it. They're talking about their lived experience. They are wonderful people, and I love everything that they do. I try to watch most of their videos. I try to watch like so many mental health videos, guys. Okay, we won't go there. But trauma and PTSD is a tough topic to talk about because of these words that YouTube flags, and it frustrates the hell out of me. For those that maybe are doubting what I'm saying when I say this, or maybe doubt Sealow's reports, there was an interview with Kati Morton done by Internet Creators Guild. I love Internet Creators Guild. And in that interview, she mentions that a YouTube rep, I forget what they call them, your channel manager or whatever the hell they call them, had said to her something about like, oh, you want to be careful about saying PTSD. Specifically, I remember her saying PTSD, and if I can find the link, I'm sure I can, and if I remember, I'll put that down below. You can find it, Internet Creators Guild, look for the Kati Morton interview. So it's not like we're just making this up and it's conspiracy theory stuff. Like, YouTube has a design for their platform, the way that they want to do things, and if you make mental health content, or if you talk about certain topics that they feel are sensitive, you can still make it, don't get me wrong, but you have to really work hard to get that stuff visible. And maybe that's why we see some of these inflammatory types of content with all kinds of drama and craziness and stuff that I'm not going to do, because I am a mental health channel, and for me, drama and craziness is like the opposite of what I want to encourage. So speaking of drama and craziness and all of this stuff, there is the thumbnails, right? And thumbnails is how we get people to click on our videos. Remember that expected watch time per impression. So I have to get you to click when you get the impression of my video, and those thumbnails are important. So let's take a walk through my thumbnails. When I first started, I just had kind of like this general thumbnail design where I put the title, I put my face, I did like a wacky face, which I'm not going to get into. Like, good thumbnail practices you should know already if you're on YouTube, and like showing your full face and have an expressive face is generally a positive thing to do. But there's a lot of advice out there when it comes to thumbnails that is not good advice for everybody, and it's put out there like it is good advice for everybody. So I want to be clear that you should be careful about the things that you are listening to when you get advice, and you should always test for yourself. So when I started, I just kind of had my own style thumbnail, and I thought I was being clever, like cutting off the corners and making it look kind of like a pill sort of a shape. Just what would catch your eye as you're scrolling through thumbnails. And then as I moved on, I decided, okay, I want to try something different, because they all kind of look the same. And I started putting my face, and I started doing like really crazy stuff because I was just kind of experimenting and having fun, and I like bright colors in general, so I was putting bright colors all over the place and outlining myself in bright colors, because that's kind of like a typical YouTube thing to do, is to outline yourself. And then as time rolled on, and I started like thinking, okay, I don't want to just use like whatever was going on behind me. I'm gonna start like really thinking about like, what is this story about? What is this video about? And I would put something in the background that kind of matched it, at least in my mind, as best as I could. And from there, my skills started getting better. I started cutting myself out a little bit better. And I decided to kind of like take away that outline. This is like what I've recently been doing, and put some shadows in and maybe simplify stuff a little bit more, because I've started testing things out and I've realized, you know, the brightness and the craziness, I like it personally. That's kind of my mentality. But I think the people who are looking for my kind of stuff, they're not interested in that. From what I've been testing, and I'm going to continue to test. It seems like people want to see like this, and this is kind of why I started setting this up in my room. I rearranged everything yesterday, and this is why I'm very behind today as well. But I want to create something that people will actually click on. Unfortunately, if people don't click on my video, they will never listen to me. And I think in general, those bright colors and the craziness and all of that, that works really good for the, you know, the Jake and Logan Paulers and all of the teenage kind of stuff and the kids stuff that we see on YouTube. I think they like all that bright color stuff, and maybe I'm a teenager at heart. I don't know. I love all the bright color stuff, but I think in general, somebody who comes to YouTube and they're looking for mental health information, they see that and they think like, who the hell is this clown? Why am I going to listen to this idiot? This looks like the typical stupid YouTuber, because you know that stereotype is out there thanks to all those Viners that came over. That we are just stupid idiots that get into trouble and do crazy stuff, and we're all mental or something. Don't get me started. But you're gonna see my thumbnails continue to evolve, but the mistake was making thumbnails that weren't appealing to my audience, because I listened to that general advice of like, make things loud, make things crazy, which appealed to me anyway, but that advice seems to only work for a certain type of audience and a certain type of people. And I thought that that was a universal across YouTube, even though, I don't know, I just thought that that was like a thing, that YouTubers like this kind of thing. But apparently the people who search for mental health stuff on YouTube, they're, at least if they're going to be new to my audience, they don't want to see that. So I'm going to have to compromise, as I continually do on YouTube, and change things. Now, there are obviously other mistakes that I have made, things like having bad sound quality, which right now I'm using lavalier mic. I don't think it's going to come out so good on the laptop that I use, and we'll see. I'll do the best I can. I'm not like an audio engineer, and this is part of the problem. I think for me, it's been 2 years and I have like 440-ish videos out there, and that's a lot. That comes to a little over 4 videos every week for 2 years. So it's been like a full-time job for me. And I focused on quantity because I felt like the more I made, the more opportunity I had to reach people. And to some extent, that's true. That's definitely gotten me, I guess, to where I am. But I also haven't taken the time to really like hone in on editing skills. And although I've worked on my thumbnail skills, I'm not the best editor. I'm not the best at audio. Like, I'm just not that great at this stuff. And in the beginning, especially, I did not have a nice camera like I have now. I'm shooting everything in 4K now, which also slowed down my editing time, that I didn't have a nice camera. But there was like a lot of mistakes in the beginning, which I think are typical for people to just have mistakes. But I don't know. This is the part of the video where I'm just going to start kind of like rambling. And if you need to cut out because you got other stuff to do, that's okay. But my impression of YouTube after 2 years is frustration. I'm angry constantly. I get depressed about YouTube a lot because I do put so much time into it. Because just like today, I wake up when I wake up. I wake up in the afternoon. Which some might think is a great thing, but I wake up in the afternoon and like I'm planning quickly, usually not today, but usually the day of that I wake up, I have a list of video ideas, and those were already researched by search terms, which, by the way, well, yeah, you should target search terms, but the suggestion engine on YouTube is really kind of becoming where it's at lately. So I will not discount search, because believe me, I am trying to get to the #1 slot on search results as often as I can, because that means a lot for me, and that's how I wind up usually getting a good influx of subscribers who are interested in one topic, and that's how I've gotten into the related channels that I've gotten into in the past. But the suggestion engine seems to be churning, and you can look into your analytics and find out for yourself, but the suggestion engine seems to be what's really bringing people in. Where was I going with all of this? Okay, I had to take a second there and remember my train of thought. So I usually wake up and I'm taken from that list of ideas that I had that I already researched, and I think, okay, like, how can I add value to this? How can I actually reach somebody in a way that maybe other people aren't already talking about? So I jot down some bullet points. I try to come up with like a hook to get you interested in the video in the beginning. And then I just kind of go, and usually I'm still editing the video from that I shot the day before. I got to do the thumbnail and the upload and all that. This is all regular stuff. You know, if I had a job, then it's a job. It's what it is. But it limits my amount of time that I can actually work on something because I'm producing so much. So I produce consistent quality, but maybe it's not the high quality that people are used to, because there are YouTubers with entire teams behind them who write scripts, who have the time to do the things that I would need to do to have a better quality. So I get depressed because I don't see results, and I don't know, there's YouTubers, like I said, that just do stuff for hobby, they do it for fun, they do it to see if they can reach people, they do it to express themselves, and I do it for all those reasons too, but I want to reach people. I'm not just doing this for the whim of it, especially because I have gotten into massive amounts of debt trying to get this off the ground, and I'm still learning and I'm still trying, and I'm not sure what the future is going to look like from here on out, to be quite honest. But since my battery seems to be running out on the camera, let's talk about where I'm going. I do want to not discount the depression though, because I am depressed constantly. As recently as this week, I have had thoughts of this isn't worth it. I want to kill myself. Not to worry anybody out there. I'm not. No, I'm aware that these are just thoughts and that they will pass because they've come and gone so many times before. But it's really hard to repeatedly do something when you're not getting results, especially when I get feedback from some of you. And by the way, if you're still here and you are somebody who's watching, just say hi in the comments. Let me know you're there, because I do a lot of this and it's like screaming into a void. I don't really get that much feedback. And the people who that do give me feedback, I appreciate it. And I know I'm not the best at always responding because I'm constantly go throughout the week. But thank you. And if you are watching, let me know in the comments, engage with me. I go to other YouTubers all the time and try to think, even if I'm not that inspired by something they've done, what can I say just to let them know that I'm watching, so they don't feel so alone doing this. Because you may have noticed the giant trend in YouTuber burnout lately of people talking about this, and it's because it's a very lonely thing to do. It's me and a camera for most of my day, for most of my life. And so these little nuggets of hey, this was good, oh thank you for this, whatever, that means a lot to me, and I do read it and I do care about it, and I'll share it with my friends to be look what somebody said about me, this is nice. And it's not in a narcissistic way, because if I was narcissistic I would have stopped doing this a long time ago. But it's just nice to hear from you, because I go to other people's, okay, see, I said I was going to wrap this up, and obviously I'm not. I go to other people's channels that started around the same time as I do, and they have communities, thriving communities, watching all of their videos, talking, and I still kind of blame that on that I started as a variety channel, and that I started and picked up a lot of people who I don't make videos for, and it frustrates the hell out of me that YouTube keeps bringing people to my channel when I don't have anything for you. I'm sorry. And I don't plan to do anything on these topics anytime soon. But I do the comparison game, and I know I've heard from so many people that are you can't compare, but I have to compare because growth is one of my goals. So I need to see what's working for A, B, and C, and what's working for this person over here, and how can I not copy it, but how can I do it in my own way? So that's where I'm heading in the future. And from what I can tell, the camera is making me nervous. It's doing all kinds of weird stuff. I'm worried about the battery running out. So where I'm heading and why I've been doing breakup stuff. I already talked about this in an older video when I made the switch to doing breakup stuff. I'm doing breakup stuff because I figured I could reach a wider audience, because everybody has gone through a breakup or is going through a breakup or will possibly experience a breakup, and that's relatable whether you have a mental health condition, whether you don't have a mental health condition. And I figured this would be a good way to reach people and bring them into the idea of mental health and mental illness and all of this stuff that I talk about here on my channel. And then I'm also thinking now, like, since I'm not getting in with these channels that are breakup channels, I'm going to continue to try. I still need to reach like the wider YouTube audience. And it seems like these days, the way that the algorithm works, the only things that really get attention are the reaction videos and the drama, and that's always how it's been on YouTube, so it's not really that surprising. But it feels like, especially nowadays, and I know because I've done reaction videos and I've done videos on popular topics, like those are the ones that rise up because it just makes sense. Those are the things that people are talking about the most often and the things that people are interested in. So I am still in the planning phase, but I do plan to do like music reaction types of stuff, and we'll see. I don't really know how to merge this topic with the crazy drama and the news and all the stuff that's out there, but I have to get creative. And if you've been watching my channel, you have seen that I have shifted constantly, and let's talk about that really quickly. With YouTube, it's so frustrating as hell because when you upload a video, you don't really know how it's doing. You can kind of get an idea the first couple of days, but since it's constantly being evaluated by the algorithm, for me, I feel like I don't really truly know how a video or a topic is doing until 3 months later. That sucks because I don't get feedback until like 3 months to know if something's going well. And this is why I make these dramatic shifts every 3 to 6 months because then I start looking at everything again and I'm like, okay, this is working, this is not working, what else can I try? You can kind of get an idea 1 month out. I don't know. Maybe other people have different experiences. If you have a different experience, feel free to leave that down below. But for me, I'm learning very slowly because of this slow feedback of how well things do. And this is because the algorithm's testing it on subscribers the first couple of days. Now we see it's testing out about a week or so on subscribers. That seems to be the current way that the algorithm does things. Thank you, Derral Eves. And then after that, it shoves it out to the rest of people, but it will only show it to the rest of people if my subscribers watch it. And I don't have engaged subscribers, and that's really frustrating. And I'm not blaming you at all. It's just the way that the algorithm has delivered people to me. So I feel like for my channel, the algorithm's not working, and I'm losing the game of YouTube, and it's just depressing because I know I have a lot to say. Do people need to hear it? Am I saying it well enough? Do I have the skills that are making people interested enough? Probably not, to be quite honest, but I'm working on it, and I do feel like I should be further ahead, except for that the algorithm has tripped me up, and now I'm stuck with these videos that I can't get rid of, that I don't want to get rid of because I know they're helping people, but it's also not helping me as a channel grow. That's so frustrating. Let's wrap this up though. So going forward, you're going to see me experimenting more. Winter is coming. I can't be outside all the time. I'm going to try to stay outside as long as I can because I feel more free to speak and free to do things while I'm out there. And I like showing you the different scenery and stuff. And I feel like it gets boring just watching me against a wall. But eventually it's going to have to be this kind of a thing. I am going to make this look nicer. And I'm going to continue focusing on breakups. I want that audience because it's a wider audience and it's something I went through personally. It's how I started my journey here on YouTube. It's a good core reason of why I wanted to talk about mental health and relationships and all this kind of stuff, and why my tagline in the beginning was humanizing mental health, because I realized how easy it is to dehumanize somebody during a breakup, and how easy it is to lose empathy, and how easy it is to not see outside of yourself when you're in so much pain. And I wanted to help bring people back to that realization that we are human, that we all make mistakes, even my ex, human, makes mistakes, we screw up, and we would do better having empathy for each other, and trying to help each other than just shaming each other and blaming each other. And no, I don't like any of that, and I don't think that's good mental health. I think it helps us cope sometimes, and that's okay, but in general, I don't like this fostering of seeing other people black and white and seeing other people as dangerous, scary, and evil. Okay, so going forward, I'm focusing on breakups. I'm going to try to do weird experiments to try to get more people to this channel, because right now it doesn't feel like I have a core audience. And yes, I know who some of you are, and I know I don't like to say names on camera because I don't know if you want your names on camera, but I know who you are, and I am so super grateful that you support me in any way. Even if you're just watching and you're not commenting, that does mean something to me because it helps me grow. But 2 years on YouTube and all I got was this lousy channel. That's kind of how I feel right now. So for anybody who's watching who's a YouTuber, did you know about all of this stuff? Are you as like insane as I am, like digging into all of the analytics and digging in, like, because I'm constantly looking at all this information. I'm watching all the people who tell you like the advice of what to do. I'm constantly experimenting. I continually get into these depressive spaces, but then I always find a solution to move forward and try something new, which I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, but it's gotten me where I am today, and maybe it's part of the reason I have some success is because I keep trying. But it's really frustrating putting out so many videos in such a short amount of time and not reaching the people who I think I need to reach. And I think that goes against the idea of what YouTube was marketing themselves at least to be about. It's really frustrating. I think it's why a lot of creators are angry. It's why a lot of creators are burning out. And just to say once again, I don't remember if I said this in the beginning, but I do like YouTube as a concept. I like the platform. I am fine with the employees. I like that there's a creator insider channel, for example. I think they're generally trying to take some positive steps, but there's a lot of improvement that still needs to be done, and I don't know if they quite get the message or if they even care, because they're getting the watch time and the advertisements in front of the teenage demographic that's probably the most willing to spend money, and they're fine with that, and they don't really care about everybody else. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's kind of the message that comes out there when you have experiences like mine. And I hope that if anybody at YouTube for some reason would watch a video like this, that they are listening and that they hear how frustrating and how this can impact people's lives, because I haven't even really gotten into the depths of how much this can impact my life. But I think the voices of so many of us who are speaking up about it, I hope it's making a wave, and I hope people are hearing. And before I end, and I'm going to end soon, so if you have anything to say, make sure you leave it down below in the comments. I love all of the mental health creators that are out there. I obviously did that gigantic playlist of mental health creators, so if I'm not the one that really hits you where you want to be hit when you watch a video, there are plenty of other people out there talking about mental health and mental health issues, and maybe smartly are talking about very specific issues that would be better for you to watch. And I don't want it to seem like I'm ungrateful that those people are out there, because I love them, and I didn't realize when I started all of this that there was such a gigantic community of people, not just on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere. And I want those voices to be heard more and more. And it's part of the reason why I try to grow as best I can, because in this world where right now, for me anyway, it feels like sometimes there's a lot of drama and there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of nonsense that's not really helping anybody. And I don't even know if I'm really helping anybody. I know I've heard from some of you, and I appreciate that, but it doesn't... I want it. I want more. I want to really feel like I'm making an impact, and it's hard cutting through the noise and making an impact. So we're going to cut it off here, because this was super rambly, and I don't normally like to be super rambly, but I felt like since this was a different video, this is a special video. And since September 5th of 2015 was the first upload with mental health. It was time for me to look backwards over 2 years and say, what happened? How did I get here? And I hope this video has helped you to understand a little bit of that and maybe think about your own YouTube journey. And if you're interested in making a channel or you have a channel, reconsider some things. I don't know. Hopefully I'm helping. That's all I really care about. Okay, thank you. See you around. We'll see what comes in the next few months or so as I do some more experimenting.